When contemplating Joseph Stalin, our minds conjure images of a dictator who played a pivotal role in defeating Hitler during the Second World War and ruled the Soviet Union with ruthless purges and mass executions. Stalin's iron-fisted leadership spanned nearly 3 decades, during which he consolidated power through terror, overseen by the NKVD. Despite hailing from humble peasant origins, he rose to become one of the most influential men in the world. Revered as a communist icon, he ranks among the most significant figures of the 20th century. His cult of personality projected him as the champion of the working class. However, in 1953, at the age of 74, he passed away, marking a stark departure from the vigorous image he projected during World War II as his health deteriorated rapidly. For decades, Stalin embodied power within the Soviet Union. To quash dissent, he employed brutal tactics, ordering the NKVD to carry out bloody purges that claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Those who opposed his policies faced either execution in the NKVD's chambers or confinement in the dreadful forced labor camps known as the gulags. By entrusting a select few with the authority to administer such brutality, Stalin effectively silenced opposition. In 1945, Stalin suffered a mild stroke just before the victory parade celebrating the Soviet Union's triumph over Nazi Germany. While his health continued to falter, he managed to survive for a few more years. However, he suffered a severe heart attack in October 1945, which further weakened him. Doctors advised him to reduce his workload and take longer vacations away from the seat of power. In 1950 and 1951, Stalin took extended breaks, some lasting 5 months. However, he became increasingly paranoid, suspecting that his doctors might be plotting against him. He even imprisoned one of them, who suggested he step down as dictator and retire to improve his health and chances of longevity. Later, several doctors were arrested on false allegations of plotting to kill senior politicians. In his final days, Stalin's public appearances became infrequent, and he wrote less, choosing to spend his remaining time as he wished. In 1952, Stalin's last book, Economic Problems of Socialism in the USSR, was published. As his health deteriorated, he spent most of his time at his dacha in Moscow. When alone, he often felt despondent and longed for the company of his close friends to watch movies or engage in lengthy discussions. He relied heavily on his inner circle, and Georgy Malenkov was considered his potential successor. In 1953, at the age of 73, Stalin's health was in a critical state due to his heart attacks and strokes. He also grew increasingly paranoid, leading him to mistrust even his own doctors. His final moments were filled with a mix of introspection and cruelty, as he told his inner circle, "You are blind like kittens without me. The imperialists will throttle you." On February 28, 1953, Stalin hosted an evening of entertainment and drinking for a small group of his inner circle, including Malenkov, Molotov, Khrushchev, and Beria. After the guests left at around 4 a.m., Stalin retired to his quarters, instructing not to be disturbed until he woke himself. However, on March 1, his housekeeper found Stalin collapsed on the floor in his room, unconscious and unable to be awakened. Doctors examined him and determined that he had suffered a severe stroke, affecting the left middle cerebral artery, leading to paralysis on his right side. Over the next few days, doctors tried various treatments to lower his blood pressure, but his condition worsened. Stalin's death agonizingly came on March 5, 1953, at 9:50 p.m., as he vomited blood and experienced stomach hemorrhaging. The autopsy revealed that the cause of death was a massive hemorrhage in the left cerebral hemisphere due to hypertension, which had also caused significant heart issues. All attempts to treat him were futile, as the brain hemorrhage was irreversible. Despite suspicions of foul play, especially concerning Beria's conduct, the autopsy confirmed that Stalin's death was consistent with a severe stroke. Speculation about poisoning remains unfounded. Following his death, Stalin's body was displayed for 3 days before being interred in Lenin's mausoleum on Red Square. The public's desire to pay their respects resulted in a tragic crush that claimed numerous lives. The passing of Joseph Stalin marked the end of a momentous era in the 20th century. A man who had once embodied boundless power within the Soviet Union had become a mere shadow of his former self in his final days. His unhealthy lifestyle and high blood pressure had ultimately caused his demise. Despite his dark legacy, Stalin remains an enduringly captivating figure in world history.